Good morning, Matt Lindsay here. How's it going? And welcome to today's video. Today what we're going to be talking about is site structure and architecture. We kind of touched on it briefly in some of the previous videos, but today we're going to be going through the kind of thought process that we look at when building a website for the first time. So first things first, obviously what we'll have on the website is our homepage. Very simply, so that's homepage. There is a text option on this as well, so maybe in fact that might be easier to use that. As you can tell, I'm not very good at this. Add a text box. Right, now we've got one we can then okay, so we've got a box. That's our homepage. So basically, alongside that, we'll have a series of other pages that we can replicate. And I think there's a way of, is it function? Basically, what we'll do is we'll create a number of these. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll copy this and we'll have contact us, and then we'll have about us. So from a kind of structural perspective, these will be all of the kind of header pages that will appear in the menu. Contact us, about us, and then we'll have services. Okay, so this is the kind of basic architecture of any website. And then alongside this, we will also have news and blog. So you can call it one or the other. So this basically gives us the kind of the key things. And then we'll have some other pages on the site, legal, cookies, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But I won't touch on those here, but they're kind of expected. So from the home page, these are kind of ancillary services. So what I typically tend to do is on the home page, I'll have a list of, I'll just use a text box here. So what I will typically do is have a list of services on the home page, and then thickness will make it a bit thinner. These services will then link through to the respective page in services. So services will, there'll be a bit of a duplication between these, but they typically do duplicate. So what we're going to look at is the type of services that companies offer. So if I look at Solid Renewables, they're in Watling Street. The services that they offer are solar, wind turbines, solar water heating, heat pumps, air conditioning, solar battery storage, electric vehicle charging, underfloor heating, electrical installations, biomass systems, etc., etc. So they're kind of a complete renewable energy. So that then tells us what our services are. So what we're going to then go and do is list the services. And these will be pages so each one of these below this will be a separate page, but on this page services will have a combined list of the services. So solar PV was the first one. What else do we have? Wind turbines. I don't know if we're doing wind turbines. We're doing solar water heating, so we can do that. Heating. Also we've got heat pumps, we're definitely doing those. So what we then need to go and do, I'm not sure if we're definitely doing battery storage, so solar battery storage. What else have we got? Electric vehicle charging, I know we're off of that. Apparently battery storage is now doesn't have that on it, so it's 20% cheaper than it was to buy a battery. Useful tip. Underfloor heating, we can do biomass as well. I'm not sure about underfloor heating, I won't mention that here, but so what, each one of these will become a page. We'll have a list of services that links you to the respective, I'll just draw again. So each of the services that are listed on the home page will link to the respective page over here. Okay, so that's the kind of basic structure. So what we're doing is we're creating links between the home page that then goes down into this and then goes into services and so on and so forth. And then what we can also do is have, if I go back to text, just shut that for the time being. So what I want to do is what we can also have is another page here. I don't necessarily always do this, but you can, is have a locations page. So what we're looking at here is a multi-location business. So effectively what we would do is using the piece of software that we talked about previously, which is Page Generator Pro. There will be a link below where you can basically pick this up. What we're going to do is go through a process of generating all of the pages for all of the locations that we want to target. And effectively what we do is we create a template page, and we use something called spin text. And basically what that does is it basically creates variations of the text, and then we insert the location into the content. And so what you end up with is something that's keyword optimized for all the locations that you want to cover. So for example, the kind of locations that you might want to list. So I live in Hertfordshire in England, in the UK. So I might say, in terms of our locations, I would always start at a county level. So look at Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Surrey, Essex, etc., etc. So basically what is kind of commonly called the home counties. And then, so what we would do is we basically build a page for Hertfordshire, a page for Bedfordshire, and obviously the location page would link to that page. So locations is in our header, that could be in a header, or alternatively, the other way that we could do this is we could add a text box, we could list our locations on the home page as well. So basically what we're trying to do is create a structure that is organized, that gives us, basically covers off. So what we don't want to have is what are called orphan pages. So we want our locations, this locations page would then basically link through to locations, that page there, and then from there we could link through, or alternatively we could actually link to the individual county pages. We probably, depending on how many locations you want to cover with the website, will determine how many, whether you want them all listed on the homepage or not. Listing, you know, if you covered 100 towns, for example, with one website, you probably don't want them listed. That's the reality of it. So what we would do is create what's called a silo structure, and then create location pages for each of these. Now, what we need to talk about next, which is quite important, is what actually goes into a location page. So we'll add another text box, and we'll bring this over here and move it across. Somebody's at the front door. Wow, I don't know who that is at this time of the day. Anyway, hopefully somebody else will answer that. So we have location pages, and basically what we would do is we would create a location page which includes the following information. So it includes a bit about us, it includes services, and it's optimized for the specific location. And so what that would include is in the headers, so we would use H1, H2, images, meta data, and then image tag, etc., etc. So what we then end up with is lots of location pages, and also each of these location pages would also link to each other. And then when we get into the towns, so below this is at a county level, and then below this, so within Hertfordshire, we would then have, the main towns are Watford, St Albans, Hemel Hempstead, Stevenage, Rickmansworth, etc., etc. Right, so I think there's about 30 decent sized towns in Hertfordshire with a population of more than 10,000 people. So what we would then do is we create these location pages for a county, and then we create location pages below this, and these location pages include this, and then they all link to each other. So all of the ones in Hertfordshire would all link together. So they'd link up to Hertfordshire, and then Watford would link to St Albans, and St Albans would link to Hemel Hempstead, and so on and so forth, and they'd all interlink. So what that then creates is a nice mesh of links between the respective pages. So that's the kind of the basic site structure that we're looking to adopt. And then obviously what we want to do from a link building perspective is, so the way that you get high authority is throwing external links to your homepage. So that's what gets your website domain authority. So we need to go away and find a list of external links that we can point to the homepage. So this will give the domain authority, and then obviously we need to be creating blog and content around the different services that we offer. So for example, we will create a list of news articles or blog posts about solar PV, for example. So we might create 20 articles covering all aspects of solar PV, so that in Google's eyes we are becoming an authority on that. And we've kind of touched on the process for that, and I think that the list of topics, which is here, we've already got. So what's the benefit? The benefits of solar in UK homes, timeline, so there's a bit of a history, basic solar panel terminology, how solar panels work, etc., etc. So what we will be doing is creating all of this content about this particular topic to ensure that we've got a highly optimized and relevant site for solar. So that's kind of the approach that we're looking to take. So that all that information kind of sits alongside the services. So solar PV will be our using a kind of an SEO term. This term would be our pillar page, and then below that we'll kind of have articles, blog posts, and topically relevant information that will point to this. And then obviously from here we'll point to those articles as well, and then they might appear in our blog feed as well. So the idea being that we end up with basically that particular category, we want to achieve topical authority for it, and then we go through the other topics as we've got below. So that will take some time to achieve, but hopefully that's a kind of useful process to go through in terms of this is the kind of site structure that I look to build, and it covers off the kind of key elements of it. The only other thing that I haven't mentioned is obviously we build the links into the homepage, and then what we would then do is build the links to the Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire, etc. pages. So what we try and do is build some authority with these, and then because there's internal links on these pages to the respective towns, that link juice should flow through and basically boost up the pages. And then the kind of so in terms of our linking structure, that's number one, and then the location, the counties would be number two, and then our town pages would be number three. So we basically start building links here to build the authority, then we build them to the county pages, and then we build them to the individual town pages, which contains all of this highly optimized content. And that should fairly consistently get us to rank. Now, obviously, what we can do is we can achieve this using AI and templates and kind of programmatic SEO and site structures, and that's what we're going to come on to in future days. So what we've now got is a list of the services that we provide, and I kind of already had this, but it's always good to look at other examples, and in fact, we should probably look at some more, just to see what other companies are doing as well, because we don't just, there might be something that we can potentially do. So there's a small solar company. I'm not sure I'd be using that as a brand, but their choice, I guess. And basically we'll then, so it's solar repair service. And in fact, that's one of the services that we do have. So, they've got some accreditations on there. They've got some, this is it looks like a legitimate business. I mean, that's effectively their services that they offer, controllers, etc., etc. So, this seems to be a fairly decent sized business. So basically what I will now go away and do is I'll build up a list of all of the services that we can provide, and then basically we'll go and create the service pages, and then from that then gives us the kind of architecture that we want to work with. But hopefully that was a kind of useful insight into building site structure, and the way that I'm going to go through this, and then you will see this come to life in terms of as the site progresses. And I think so as it stands, we've just got about us and our services. So effectively, I think I've pre-identified solar panel design and installation. I haven't created the individual pages for these yet. Battery storage, heat pumps, boiler replacement. That's another service that we can offer actually. And then we've got solar panel repair as well. So we can then include frequently asked questions about this, and each of these will then go into the pages. So I've kind of done a bit of this already, but I just think it's a useful exercise to actually see how this builds out. And then obviously I need to build out the individual service pages. We've done a bit of the location work already, but we need to optimize those pages and introduce more content, as we talked about in yesterday's video. So there's still a lot to do, and then we need to start building some authority links to the website. So we'll start with some citations. I've got a list of sites that I'm going to build into this as well to create some authority and hopefully get us ranking. We probably need to be, I don't know, the authority of these. This is always a good kind of indication to have a look at in terms of Ahrefs domain authority checkup. And at some point I will inevitably have to pay for this, but at the moment I'm using other services. So solarrepairs.co.uk. So again, it's got 190 backlinks, but it's only got a domain authority of 3.2. I mean, it's not very strong, is the reality. So, that obviously wasn't ranking organically. So in fact, maybe what we should actually do is look at which website was ranking organically. Where did we go? So this, I know that the Renewable Energy Hub is incredibly high domain authority. I think I might have looked at it on a previous one, but yeah, they've got pretty big domain authority from memory. Now, obviously, domain authority is a bit of a vanity metric, and it kind of doesn't matter in the scheme of things, but obviously what this tells us is potentially the level of they're probably got some kind of programmatic SEO. Yeah, there we go. 64. That's a pretty serious authority site. So obviously we're not going to be able to do that, but what we might be able to do is be a bit more optimized in terms of our localness, if that makes sense. So they've got, their content's okay, I think, but I think there's space in this SERP to search engine result page to get in there. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. And if that doesn't work, then we've got kind of other approaches. Anyway, hopefully that was a useful insight into the kind of structuring, the approach that we go through, the reasons behind why we build things in this way. And if you want to pick up Page Generator Pro, I've got an affiliate link for this, so I'll include that in the description. And I welcome any thoughts, any comments you might have. Have a good day.